Thank you for joining today's webinar titled Serving Up Smiles, Maximizing Customer Care with Your CRM, brought to you by Cargus. Today's wonderful speakers are Pam Morrissey, our Cargus Energy Director. Pam is a seasoned operations leader with over 20 years of experience spanning travel, communications, insurance, and software support. Currently, she serves as a Director of Energy Support at Cargus Systems in Lancaster, PA. Pam holds a master's degree from Duquesne University and certifications in Lean Six Sigma and project management from Villanova University. Her expertise lies in customer experience, strategy, and leadership. Recognized for her contributions, Pam was named a Woman of Influence by the Central PA Business Journal. She's also a finalist in the 2024 Moxie Award by the Technology Council of Central PA's Women in Technology program. We also have Eric Gervais, our CRM manager here. Eric joined the Cargus team in 2017 with 15 years of sales experience, primarily in software and technology. Eric has always been interested in helping businesses use technology to become more successful and efficient. As sales manager for the CRM team, Eric does just that, working with businesses to improve their software solutions so they can feel confident, grow faster, and focus on what they do best. Lastly, we have Mimi Whiteside, our team leader. Mimi has been part of the Cargus team since 2000. At Cargus, Mimi has worked with a variety of solutions in a variety of roles, including product specialist, system consultant, account manager, sales lead, and consulting team leader. And her current role as team leader for CRM customer success. Mimi draws on her past experience to ensure CRM customers have a fantastic experience with their product and with Cargus. We encourage you to use the questions pane on your webinar control panel to post questions you may have for the presenters during the webinar. Questions will be reviewed and answered at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar will be recorded and posted to the Cargus website. Look for that post to be up in a few days. So if everybody's ready, let's get started with today's webinar.
So our discussion today is going to be around just defining value, around our customer care elements we're going to be discussing, building a foundation, and enhancing business impact. And of course, there'll be Q&A, as Emily said, here towards the end. But first, we wanted to start off by utilizing our chat messaging here and ask you all a question. And it can be a one-word answer, it could be a sentence, whatever you want. But what do you think, what makes your customers feel like you know them? If you want to put your answers right there in chat, that would be fantastic. I'll add one of my own. So as we're looking for some more entries into the chat, you want to go ahead and kick forward of understanding my business and objectives. Exactly. Yep. Thank you, Eric. Great. So I'm going to be talking about defining value when it comes to customer care, and I'll talk about 3 specific areas that I'm going to be focused on. But before I do that, I actually wanted to talk about one area that I personally feel is the most important for delivering smiles and customer care, enhancing the overall customer experience in general. And that is all around the team that you build. And specifically what I mean is the team that we surround ourselves with, the team that we surround our teams with, just the folks that generally are serving up our customers, and how important it is that they have the same type of values that we have. And that really just starts by at the very, very, very beginning when you're hiring someone. So we often look for folks that are set out to really end their day feeling accomplished and proud of something that they did, whether that be a customer conversation, perhaps it's a problem that they solved, or just generally supporting a coworker. We really are looking for people who truly care and want to have something at their end of the day, like I said, that they're proud of. That's the first thing that we're always looking for. The second thing I tell our managers when they're going through the hiring process is to really look for people that are smarter than you, people that can take your role in a few years, and to not be afraid of that, to not feel threatened by that. As a matter of fact, don't only not feel threatened by it, but mentor and coach them on how to do that while they're in their role, so that you can really focus on bringing the importance of the culture into play with your entire team. As a company, culture is extremely important. This we all know, but I think sometimes we overlook the importance of our specific individual team's culture. And having a healthy, vibrant one is going to lead obviously to healthy and vibrant customer support agents and team members, and obviously customers in general. And it's going to make the next 3 areas that I'm going to talk to you about easier to implement and certainly to define value around. So if you want to go ahead, Emily, and kick me to the first one. So the synergy around having effective support teams and systems, there's a couple of them. 3 ones that I focus on the most have to do with support leadership and management, which is generally your ability to be able to focus on that team that you built and focus on the workflows and processes that you put in place with that team. The second one that we implement around customer care, when I kick forward, Emily, is knowledge base. And so the knowledge base specifically is that place where you have content in one centralized location so that your customers can self-serve, so that your support teams can onboard easier, and overall satisfaction for customers and your employees can be greatly, greatly improved. And then thirdly, it's the concept of omni-channel service. So omni-channel service is basically just meeting the customer where they are, how they want to be supported. So whether that's through chat, the telephone, email, help center, in all of those various ways. It's a way for us to not only enhance their experience, but overall simplify our support team's experience and then just operations in general. So the next 3 slides are going to focus on these 3 areas. So we'll start with support, leadership, and management. So I'll tell you, Emily mentioned I went to Duquesne, and that was 20 years ago, but there is one thing that I really, really, really remember, and that was a professor in one of my leadership classes that said specifically, leadership and management are 2 different and distinct things. Leadership is what we do with people, and management's what we do with processes. But when you can combine both of those things consistently and successfully, that's where the real power lies. And that's what we try to do every day within our own team. I love this quote, right? The right people with the right processes don't just solve problems, they create experiences that turn customers into advocates. I don't know who said it, but I love it, and I'm all there for it, as I'm sure everybody on the call is as well. So let's start off with our first bullet, which is clear processes and workflows. And specifically what I mean by this is well-defined procedures for handling different customer issues. And on our team, in the Cargus Energy Support side, we have, for example, a ticket triage methodology that our team can use with each individual issue that they receive so that they can provide consistent and clear experiences across the board. That's one example. The second one is performance monitoring and metrics. And this is all really about, for me, measuring what matters. So we all have our basic KPIs, our key performance metrics for customer care teams, right? Resolution times, first reply time perhaps, maybe your contact center are heavier on the phones, you're measuring after call, and of course, customer satisfaction scores. But how do we always look at ways to measure different things as our business evolves that matter to us? So an example of that for our team includes something we implemented called our one-touch percentage rate, which is basically how many times on our ticket inquiries is our customers, are they having to go back and forth with our support team? And I want to figure out what that is so I can shrink that. Another example is the average ticket age. That's a newer metric for us, where we're measuring the actual days that the tickets were created until they were resolved. And other things like service level goals internally, they measure the percent of time that we're meeting our full resolution goals for our customers. So we're constantly trying to evolve our performance metrics as we go along. The third one is really about just general team leadership, as I discussed, and staffing. So having the proper staffing forecast in mind for the next following year, having the right seasonal hiring plans, just making sure that we're looking at the right customer sort of to support ratio, and always keeping that balanced, backfilling where we need to, all of those different things. That is incredibly important. And I'll make a little note. the leadership piece, or what we were just talking about when I opened my slides, when you hire the right people, you're also going to notice when your culture is healthy and vibrant that they show up. They're here. Customer support teams, service and general teams, I mean, it's a hard job. They're hammered with a number of different things all of the time. And they also are one of the teams that generally have the most shrinkage or unplanned attendance issues, right? What I have found, particularly with the Cargus Energy support team, is that we don't experience that. So the team leadership and just generally planning properly is going to be a really important component. The fourth component is around quality assurance. And so that's just regularly auditing your support experiences. Are your standards being delivered the way that you're asking them to be delivered? When we think about omni-channel service, when we think about the knowledge base, which we'll talk about, the ideal solution is in one place. So one place for your customers to go, one place for your agents to go. And even in the process for QA, we have recently implemented a program where it integrates into our one place when it comes to our support team that can actually monitor that experience in a bit more of an automated fashion for us, so we can use those experiences as coaching moments when we need to. The fifth option, or the fifth consideration, is about customer feedback and the integration thereof. So you'll hear my fellow coworkers talk about this a little bit more, but for me in support, what this really means is, how do we actively solicit and analyze customer feedback? So for our team, we will ask for feedback, just a very quick survey. How did I do? Do you have any comments for me? How can I do better? In each and every ticketing interaction. And then we act upon it. We praise where we need to praise. And second to that, we will react and right away, real time, to anything that we receive that's less than negative, so that we can try to right that wrong and fix that for the customer in some way. And then our sixth initiative that we try to go through is for proactive support initiatives. So Emily, if you want to kick me forward. So proactive support initiatives for me, oh, thank you, Emily, means basically addressing and identifying issues that aren't even escalated yet. Trying to get there before the customer even knows that they're there, so the customer doesn't have to experience that pain point in any way, shape, or form. An example of this is within our technical support team. What we are set out to do is to monitor. We are a software company, so we want to monitor system performance and slowness, so that if we see anything hiccup, if you will, we want to try to get in front of it well before, as I said, that becomes a pain point. And then one that also can be a little bit overlooked is crisis and escalation management. There are going to be situations that we can't ticket triage. What do we do with those situations? How do we react to those? My recent recommendation, and something we have in place now, is called an issue risk level program. And so if you think of like a triangle, and there are 4 levels to that triangle, what we do with this, we call it IRLs, this issue risk level program, is try to use this pyramid as a visual reminder. When you get this type of situation to a consultant, here's what you should do. Kind of give them a guide or a path, so that they know, especially when it gets to the very top, and if there's any sort of crisis, heaven forbid, or escalation, they know exactly how to turn on that very, very quickly. And then my final one under support leadership and management is around continuous improvement. So I love data. So anything I can do with data to make some well-informed decisions, I'm all about it. This is incredibly important, to always be reviewing your operating processes and procedures. If you don't have standard operating procedures for support teams or care teams, my definite recommendation is to start there, and ideally online, so it's easier to maintain and keep as up to date as possible as the industry changes, as your team changes, as your business changes. Reviewing and updating that support processes is what keeps us moving. So second is our knowledge base, and how important our knowledge base system is. And again, this is just a centralized information system that ideally is integrated as well with your CRM system, or what you're using to manage support. And it's going to give your customers, again, the ability to self-service and to facilitate easier onboarding. And so the first piece of, the first bullet I want to go over is faster information retrieval. And so when you have all of your information in one spot, clearly your support agents are going to be able to go out and grab that easier. Your customers are as well. We subscribe here to a methodology called KCS, which is Knowledge Centered Service. If anyone's interested in it after the call, I will data dump on you and give you all everything I know about it. But at its highest level, it basically means that when we get an issue, if in fact that issue is not an article on the Help Center already with that customer's exact question, that consultant is to then make an article with the question and the answer. So that's when my customer comes in the future, another customer comes in the future to look for that same answer, they can readily have it pretty quickly. Very, very important. Improved content relevance. So again, data-driven analytics can be used in so many ways, but it can really be used in your knowledge base for articles. And specifically what I mean by that is that if you have articles that are commonly used, there is opportunity in that. Opportunity because your customers are telling you, I have a question about this part of your product over and over again. That's feedback for your product support team. That is training material for your new hires. Lots of good detail when you have a knowledge base that's capturing that. Enhanced agent productivity. So clearly, if they have something that's in front of them that's going to be able to help maintain, or excuse me, help them grab information, that's really important. Most help centers or knowledge bases will have the ability to have an internal facing help center as well. So we have the help center for our customers, and we have a help center for our actual consultants too, so that they can self-serve and really get to answers much more quickly, so that they can feel and be more productive. And just better self-service overall in general. One of the things that is incredibly important to us about our knowledge base is that when a customer does not find their answer on the knowledge base, that they have a seamless transition to us. So through our chat, or if they want a ticket with us, either way, having better self-service options existing within the knowledge base is pretty important. Streamlined content management is our ability to optimize the experience of searching for an article. And what I mean by that is, if I have a customer on the help center, they're asking me a question to get to an article, I want to be sure that article is tagged with a key word that they're perhaps using in that actual question. We also want to categorize the articles. Here at Cargus, we have a dedicated content management team that really helps us do that and helps us understand what we can optimize through those articles. That is just getting us to more of those analytics that I'm looking for. So these articles may be great now, but how good are they really? And one of the ways that you're going to be able to manage that or figure that out is by measuring self-service scores. So how often is article A helping close this issue or resolve this issue? And so we are monitoring self-service scores, which obviously when they're low, we're going to work on our article creation. And when they're higher, we know that we're going a good path. So that's a good one to keep our pulse on for sure. And then finally, we also have efficient onboarding and training. So the cool thing about this is that when you have your videos on a help center for training material, you're not only helping your internal team when you get new hires or new products or features, but you're also helping your customers onboard their teams and their new hires, or when they're introducing new features that we're bringing them to their team. So everybody wins in that situation. And then third is omni-channel service, which if everyone's in a different spot right now, so you may be fully utilizing this, you may not be utilizing it as much as you want to, but again, this is just meeting the customer where they are to improve their experience. What's really great about omni service is just being able to have this consolidated history across all channels. So this unified customer view. Our customer experience team is always looking to improve their ability to understand what's happening in the actual issue with the customer at the moment, and the context of that issue. And so having that unified customer view is really, really helpful. Again, we talked about seamless channel transitions. So our ability to cross channels, if you will. So in other words, move from that help center, I can't find my answer, to chat is great, because that chat will then create a ticket. And so it's very seamless for our customers and our support team, which is a huge benefit of our omni-channel service. And that leads to our third point, which is just overall improved response time. So when we have the ability to have those seamless conversations, we also, with omni-channel service, get the ability to route issues differently. For example, specifically in support, there are customers that I like to get to specific agents. We can do that through omni-channel. When we have omni-channel services, a lot easier. We can also do things based off of the channel type, the question type, the urgency of the issue. So there's a lot of things that you can actually be improving. And for the fourth option, or the fourth win, I would say, is just our ability to personalize experiences and to personalize interactions. So we can tailor our responses based on the history and preferences of our customers. So we're trying to bring over as much historical data into that specific ticket to see, did this customer ask this question for? Is this a pain for? Has this been a pain point for them in the past? To make sure that we're really fully trying to understand what's going on with that situation. And then efficient resource allocation. A lot of the times, these systems will have a real-time visibility that you can utilize for agent capacity and channel volume. So you can adjust if your chat channel is getting too heavy, your staffing. You can adjust if your phones need more, your abandonment rate might be too high, so maybe your phones need more agent assignments. That is all doable within many of these systems. And then if you like reporting as much as I do, not only will you have that for your resource allocation, but you'll also get consistent reporting and improved customer first contact resolution, all of these things when you have these unified metrics across the board. So when we were talking about key performance metrics and measuring what matters, it has been a blessing in disguise to be able to see all of those important reporting metrics in one spot from a support perspective, so that we can make some really great decisions. It's a simple concept from a reporting angle, but bringing them all into one platform, I can say, has been extremely valuable for us as a team. And then with that, I'm going to hand this over to my peer for building a foundation.
Thanks, Pam. That was awesome. I learned something new. My daughter is considering Duquesne, and I'll be picking your brain here in the near future. That was a really good entree here. So Pam did a really great job of explaining how you might kind of build value around this, make sure you understand kind of all the ways that you can get great results from different ways of using different technologies. But you may not be able to go from 0 to 60 overnight, right? So how do we get there? So when we talk about that, I like to think about what's the first step. So when I think about that, that's really just where are we at today? So I'll talk a little bit about that and how you might be able to measure where we are today. And then without making this big investment, without spending a bunch of money, time, and energy, what are little things that you can do to then make improvements once you understand where you're at today? Out of that process, what are the big things that we can do to improve? And then if we're now, our appetite is now whetted, we see value, how do we use technology in a more meaningful way that might require some spend, but also provide more meaningful value for specific processes? So I'll walk you through that. Okay, so we just went through this as a team. Now, Pam is in our Cargus Energy team, and we are the CRM business unit. Mimi and I are in the CRM business unit here at Cargus. And one of the things that we just did was go through a process of trying to understand the voice of the customer. And really, it's just a methodology to really understand how your customer's feeling about your business, your product, your service, can be revealed in a bunch of different ways. You can focus on different parts of your process, or you can just get more kind of big picture. How are people feeling about your service? But the idea is to really get a starting place before you start implementing technology. I think everybody's kind of first thought is like, okay, let's try and solve this with technology. But before you go there, you should really understand how your customers are feeling, where you're being successful, and where you're having challenges. So Pam talked a lot about the great ways that you can elicit feedback from your customers. Surveys. You could put together small focus groups of areas of your business, and even just proactively listening on social media to get feedback. People who are interacting on Facebook and on your Facebook page, giving you feedback just in the market, talking about your products and services. A lot of great feedback out there. So you can go through a process of developing questions to ask your customers. And then out of that, capturing and reviewing that data. So developing those KPIs that Pam was talking about around like how many responses we need to feel like we have meaningful results on this. What is the performance of the response? And then kind of keeping a regular cadence to make sure that we're measuring this regularly and have a really good feel for it. We have enough data to make decisions from. And then once you've got that, you can create an action plan. So what processes are we struggling with? What are our focus areas? Should we be using technology? Are all great places to think about next steps once you've actually done the homework of where are we today? So highly suggest, don't just jump right into technology. Start with the questions first. Really understand where your customer's at, how they're feeling, and then take that information and then start utilizing technology. So to the point of the journey, the first step, and if you could go to the next slide, you may not need to spend a bunch of money, right? You might already have tools in place that can help you improve the way that you interact. And these kind of basic tools are virtually every business has some sort of phone and phone system. So easy wins would be departmental routing or subject matter experts getting the right phone calls at the beginning. Pam talked about call recording. So if you can do any of that, that's great for coaching and training and making sure that your customers, the sentiment of calls is high and that you're getting good responses from customers and you're getting to resolution. Other tools that you can use, of course, email, just simple client folders. I'm sure you're all doing this. Shared email addresses. If you don't have some fancy ticketing system, being able to have like one place where multiple customer service agents can go to triage and respond to emails in a group setting so that you're not just all the burden is on one individual email. And then finally, like, how do I store my knowledge in a kind of very simple way, not like through a system, but through document management. So you could keep reporting and Excel for case management. You could have Word for knowledge base, and you can share files across the team through tools like Google Drive or SharePoint, so that you have a kind of a shared experience of where all these knowledge centers live, so that you can really give good answers for customers when they need them. But I think we can all agree that's really just the starting place. That's the entry point. As you can go forward, that's fine. As you transition and you think about, okay, like what are the processes that we're challenged by? A couple key examples is really is when you have service challenges, when people are really struggling, building a system around case management. So ability to manage customer issues to resolution, follow all the way through a process, track repetitive issues and challenges, and then also having a system beyond just file storage to create standardized responses for your team and to present public-facing self-service FAQs, answers to their questions, and a quick routing into, as Pam was talking about, multi-channel service experiences with your team. Next. Another common one, because we work with a lot of manufacturing customers who are creating products, is RGA and RMA processes. So if you're not familiar, it's really kind of when you sell a product, it's when you have to return merchandise or get something fixed that's broken, you'll put that through a process. So the focus here would really be just looking at your processes, identifying areas that are either big challenges, a lot of effort, or repetitive problems that are happening with your products. And then you can improve automation, reporting, and trackability. So this will allow you to see when products are, when you have repetitive products malfunction, areas where you need automation, so it takes less time to process the returns, and basically a better customer experience when problems happen. So you get to resolution quicker. So we talked about like, where do we start? These tools are tools that you can use, and Mimi's actually going to show you some actual examples from these tools. But there's kind of two different categories of product here. CRM platforms, you guys may be using some of these or other products like this. Oftentimes they have a service module within them. So the advantage there is that you've got a solution that has all of your customer data around sales. You might have your marketing communications in there, and then also having the ticket. So you kind of get that customer 360 view. So you get visibility of all the interactions, not just service interactions, but sales and marketing interactions with a customer in those CRM platforms. So that's one advantage of using that category of product. And then you've also got kind of like your more focused service platforms, things like Zendesk, Freshdesk, Jira, that are tools that are built specifically for customer service. We ourselves use Zendesk, but there are a lot out there. But these tools are like hyper focused, and some of the advantages is they often have pre-configured things in them that are focused on service interactions, and make that really easy because they're so narrowly focused on customer service. So it really depends on what you want to get out of it, but you have great options out there in software of taking it to the next level. Okay, so the question for the group here is, are you using your existing CRM to manage support? Are there other ways that you're using, other softwares that you're using to manage support today?
Okay. Sure, if we wanted to wait till we got more feedback on that one, we should just keep rolling. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Eric. Thanks, Pam. It's great to be with you here today. So my part of the presentation is to talk a little bit more specifically about leveraging advanced customer service applications and how that can impact your business. So the first thing I want to talk about is saving time and money. Gosh, who doesn't want to do that, right? So like Eric said, we're all in different places in terms of our customer service evolution. I can remember a time at Cargus very long ago when we handled support through email. So we've come a long way since then, but wanted to start again, just talking through some automation concepts, and actually Pam talked about a few of these things, and Eric actually displayed the self-service portal that some of you on the call probably recognize as our customer care portal. But self-service portals are really the best way to improve the experience for your end customers. So rather than having to send an email and hope for the best, if it's going into an abyss, if someone is on vacation, if you have a follow-up that maybe you forgot to send a screenshot or documentation, it's hard to kind of get all of that linked back together. So a self-service portal allows customers to kind of see not just the initial creation of the ticket, but the ongoing progress and kind of the back and forth with the support team. Really an empowering experience. The other power of the self-service portal is, not having to have a customer retell their story. Listening to our customer feedback over the years, that's one of the key things that we strive to make sure that our customers never have to retell the story of what's going wrong in their system. It's painful enough to live through it once. You don't want to have to retell that a few times. So again, just having everything rolled into one ticket and distributing that information out to the rest of the support team is critical. Chatbots. So I don't know about you, but chatbots through the years have been, if I can avoid them, I certainly will try. But I think generally things have improved pretty dramatically for, the personal, vendors that I work with, different partner experiences. Applications are leveraging ChatGPT, so that overall experience has just gotten so much better. And I actually had an experience just this week where I was logging into my health service account provider to find a phone number, like old school thought, right? And logging into that website, I saw a chat bot pop up, suggest a couple of ideas, and I entered just a real quick phrase about what I was trying to do, and it presented 3 or 4 different knowledge-based articles that I could click on. Were very short, very consumable, and easy for me to apply. So sort of long story short there, it took me 3 minutes to complete what I was trying to do without jumping on the phone, without having to work with a support agent who probably has better things to do than what my little request was. So just a good example, and I'm sure you have countless examples of those in your business, but it is really something to consider. The third point here about saving time and money, one piece of feedback that we hear from our customers is that, well, we do use email now. It's fast. I can reply quickly to my customers. I can, engage people that I need to, and I may not want to slow down the process with, implementing a more operational solution. So our response to that is to say, consider workflows, routing rules, and macros with whatever solution that you're considering. And what that does is it allows you to pre-fill records, and the records that I'm referring to would be your case information. It allows you to, workflows could allow you to assign that quickly and potentially escalate without human intervention. So Cargis, we actually have a customer in Atlantic County, New Jersey. They're a waste management service provider. And as you can imagine, this time of year, waste management down the shore, they're excessively busy. So their CRM system has at least a dozen case macros. So agents are picking up calls, immediately route based on the case type that they select. It routes the case to the right team. It notifies individuals. It escalates as necessary and allows them to manage that seasonal need. So the fourth example of case automation is case journeys. And I know Pam talked about process mapping a bit. This is a critical part to organizing your customer service application. And it's really about eliminating the guesswork about what happens next. So it's wonderful for a new agent to be able to step in and say, oh, if I have a quality issue for this particular product, this is where I need to start, and here are the next 5 steps that I need to take. So allowing you to quickly train your team and also isolate issues in your process. I'm going to talk about case journeys here in a couple of slides. So I'm ready. Okay. So critical customer service automation is email to case. And this just happens to be within Microsoft Dynamics CRM, but many other customer service solutions offer this capability. So if an agent receives an email, and rather than keeping that information within a siloed experience within an Outlook client or whatever email client is being used, the email to case automation pushes that information along with any attachments, the detail, of course, from the email into a case record. So from there, the case is then typically sent to a queue and routed to a team for management from there. So no more waiting on an individual to get back. And again, the link to case just saves the agent so much time and not having to rekey data. Okay, so case journeys and actions. So case journeys allow you to prompt your agents for the next best actions based on predetermined processes. So in this specific example, we are looking at the ribbon at the top is showing us the different stages for a typical case: identify, research, and resolve. And you can imagine within each of these stages, you have different data steps. So there may be 4 or 5 different fields that we're requiring as part of that specific case type. It's helpful, again, to see where there are any gaps. If you need to notify individuals within operations, within accounting, you can reach out depending on what the needs are. In aggregate, you would be able to look at a higher level of all of your cases, and you may have, let's say, 50 in the identify and 300 in research, and that, of course, is going to shine a light on where we might need more resources and maybe more training. Okay. So reporting for decision making. Again, Pam referred to a couple of these things already, but how is your customer service data impacting your business? So it's really where we are able to advance our customer service knowledge beyond just the gut feel. We no longer have to ask agents, well, how do you think our top 10 customers are feeling? We're reaching out and we're collecting data to tell the whole story. So using tools like NPS, CSAT, CES, we can answer questions like, how are we doing? When should we hire? Response and resolution times are a pretty common measure out of a customer service solution. So if we're, if we're establishing, set goals and we're measuring our agents against those goals and expectations, we're able to then make some decisions for the business based on when we need to hire, or if we need on-demand staff potentially to sort of fill some gaps. Okay. So one important note here, just to make, actually on the prior slide, data will need to be centralized and normalized, meaning you may have different applications in play working with your customer data. So Eric mentioned, there are certain hyper-focused applications that are meant to just do ticketing, and they can work in combination with your CRM or are maybe separate applications. That is where we need to determine what the true system of truth is for your customer data, so that we can do these roll-up reports across all of your systems. On the left-hand side here is just an example of a KPI type report that can be generated out of Salesforce in this example. And there are also capabilities within Salesforce and other tools as well to have that sort of omni-channel, multi-level experience for both your agents and customers. The screenshot on the left is just, if you have a web experience complemented with your mobile, allowing you to get push notifications as an agent, it's nice to have that information meet you where you are. So leveraging AI. So how can I use customer service data to impact my business through artificial intelligence? Microsoft Copilot and Salesforce Einstein are just two examples that are already embedded within business applications. And what this really provides is the ability to clarify questions and present suggested solutions based on previous cases, purchases, and product updates. Suggested responses, so AI can draft responses for you, tailored to your customer needs, whether that be through email or just updates on CRM records. And then as an agent, you can either choose to accept that AI generated content or leverage it and potentially make your own modifications to make it more you. Sentiment and feedback analysis is really great for summarizing your customer content across a number of cases, a number of different activities, so that you don't have to drill into the history of a timeline to see all the things going on. AI is meant to summarize that big data and really just point you to some of those things that need to be escalated, most importantly. And Pam mentioned too about the knowledge management piece to this. So I too remember the days of, I solved the case. Now I have to, number one, remember to create a knowledge base article, and number two, have the time to do that. So if those things are available, awesome. If not, AI is a huge help to generate those articles based on solved tickets. And we're really seeing that impact our organization. So to wrap things up here, I want to show you a really cool and practical example of AI in action. This is using Salesforce Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. Again, just one example. Pretty much all of the advanced customer service solutions have AI components to them. And this isn't futuristic. This is what we have available to us now. So
how does Einstein Copilot empower your teams to work faster? Einstein Copilot helps you work faster by allowing you to express your questions or instructions in natural language and giving you generative AI responses that are grounded in your business data. And it's why your sales teams can quickly research their opportunities by getting helpful summaries of your CRM data, and then close those deals by generating personalized close plans. More importantly, executing those plans, which include help with drafting the emails you'll use to engage your potential customers. And later, from their mobile device or returning from a successful meeting, your sales reps can update their opportunities using spoken natural language instructions. Einstein Copilot goes into actions. But it's not just your sales teams. Einstein Copilot also helps your service teams work faster with case summaries that show an awareness of what the service rep is looking at. Awareness that Einstein Copilot can use to recommend solutions to customer cases that might be scattered across multiple knowledge articles, then allowing your service reps to ask follow-up questions to get even more information about those solutions, and also initiate action, which leads to collaboration, because Einstein Copilot also works in Slack, where other members of the team can respond to escalations and approve solutions to close cases faster. And Einstein Copilot helps your e-commerce teams by creating promotions for your products based on your customer segments using natural language.
So of course, we'll have the video content included within our presentation, and there's more detail about some of the other products that Salesforce offers, but just wanted to illustrate some of the or demo some of the examples that we were talking through today. All right, now that you've seen what's possible, where do you think the most opportunity lies for your business?
Maybe while we're waiting for that question to be answered, when you were talking about chatbots, I was thinking how in Cargus Energy Support, we're only now starting to pilot some AI features. And we're fortunate internally because we have a developer that we actually had build an AI tool for us that actually doesn't use ChatGPT. It just uses our content in our help center and what we have in our particular case, which is Zendesk, as Eric shared. So as long as the content in our management system is accurate, then that's going to be pretty good for us to be able to help our support agents answer questions. But it is a really fascinating time for us, I think, as an overall industry to figure out how do we do that, particularly if you're trying to do it with ChatGPT integrated, right, with your AI, because there's so much information out there and noise.
Great.
So I was kind of curious too, just for businesses who are starting to implement this, is there a specific like size of business too that you're noticing that this has been very effective for?
I'll take a swing and then Eric can follow up on that. So most of the applications that we represent are very scalable. We have worked with customers in discovery and rollout from, a size of 5 up into, several hundred. So Microsoft itself uses Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Its support platform, just as one example, a pretty large scale.
Yeah, agree. And it's similar to the way we thought about like the journey when you're thinking about evaluating value for these things and the tools you might use. There's also potentially a journey for how you get into these things. So simple case management might be a starting place. You might not go all the way to the knowledge management. You might not be able to utilize, because you won't have the data to support it, AI tools, because it's really depending on history, to deliver. But yeah, even just getting started with documenting through cases, like that's a light lift and something small teams can consume pretty easily.
Wonderful. All right, folks. Well, if we don't have any other questions, everybody here as well, do you have any last things to add before the end of the webinar?
I can go ahead and start. Just good luck in wherever you are with your journey. And again, if you have any questions or about any of our experiences, I'd be more than happy to speak to you directly on the phone. Just feel free to email at any time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both all so much. We really appreciate it. And for the audience, remember that you will be getting a recording of the webinar sent to you directly. It'll also be available on our website too in the next couple of days. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. We are all more than happy to help. And thank you again so much for showing up. Thank you.
Thank you.